art gallery at 11 o'clock. Now I would suggest I will be giving you a sheet that you can follow through the instructions to get there. There's lots of coffee shops in that street. There's free parking at the art gallery. So you can get there a little bit earlier, grab a coffee, and then meet me there a little bit before. I'll be there at 10:30. If you meet me there, hello Lisa. Now Lisa's made it. Yay. I've got some messages for you. Now I'm having a little bit of a pause moment. It's very atmospheric. So I may turn my video off and on a little bit just to bear with me. I might turn it off if it's just been completely painful. You've seen what I look like here, and then we'll put it back on when I talk about equipment.
Okay.
We have a variety of, I hate calling it skill level, but we'll call it experience level. How about that? We have a variety of experience level, so I don't really mind what skill level you're at, and I will teach you at whatever level you want. You come to me with what you want to get out of it, and I will make it happen. So, as I was saying, it is going to be beautiful down there. The autumn leaves haven't changed yet. Good, because we want them there for us when we get there. We are meeting at the art gallery. There is a sensational show that we are going to be seeing, and we have a private tour. So that's why it'd be really great if everyone turned up just a bit before 11. Our tour will be going from 11 to 12. Then we will take ourselves from wherever you drove in with, and we will drive to Perthville. Hello, Charles. Nice to see you. I'm on, I'll just unclick myself a little second. I seem to be freezing a little bit, as you can see. So I'm going to unclick myself, and then when we get to equipment, I will click on. Anyway, this is, again, this is just a get to know you explanation, so everyone can feel really chilled and excited rather than panicked and nervous about the trip. And I find that these Zoom meetings really help, like, get us kicked off. I think it's a nice idea because everyone does panic. It's like, what if she said this and I don't understand that? I'm only an email away and a phone call away, so please don't hesitate to that. Charles, I hope I might be seeing you in a workshop soon. Maybe you're coming to the one that I'm coming down there on the 28th. I've got one with you guys, Moody.
Yes, I don't think I can make. Yeah, I don't think I can make that one, Christine. So I'll see you in Bathurst.
That's okay. No problem.
I've just sent you a message saying I couldn't get in.
Oh, right. Okay.
I just sent you a message saying I couldn't get into the Zoom.
Okay.
But then I did.
Yeah. So with that,
so just ignore that message.
Yeah, you undo it and then you have another go, and it's just being painful. Anyway, lovely to see you. So as I was saying, we have an amazing show that will get us kick-started. I really think it's important that you go and look at other art, not to copy it, to be inspired, not to feel bad that you won't feel like do anything that good, to be inspired. I call it priming, and part of an art retreat is all about priming. And what that means is sometimes we panic a little bit about, quick, I've got to go and make art, and then you make it, and then you hate it, and then you go, ah. Sometimes it's really good just to be exposed to that. It will sink in. You are artist, so it's like being a sponge. It will let it sink in, and you don't have to know what to do with it. So that's why I want to expose you to a lot of different things, and then it'll eventually come out. You know, I know in my own work, you know, sometimes you're painting a landscape and you go like, that reminds me of this place, but it's not of that place. You guys are better than that. I want you to be expressive and enjoy the journey is the trip. So the difference to an art retreat as opposed to a workshop is that with a workshop, we have a desired outcome, and I can be anywhere. I will come with what I come with, and we'll create from that. With a retreat, we will be exposed to certain things and we will respond to that. And you can't do them in a classroom. You have to be outside a little bit. In saying that, we have a massive, massive studio. Everyone will have their own table. You don't have to pack up at all for the whole time you're here. You can go back whenever you like. You will be given portable easels, but if you would like to bring a table easel or whatever is comfortable for you to work with, I don't care. I will be giving you a table. I will be covering it in plastic. So if you got some messy people, and then we'll go from there. the point of a retreat is that I get you to create a lot of starting points, and we will finish paintings, but I want you to, you know, when I do my own art, when I do art residencies around the world, one of the things that I really like is to have the air of the place hit the surface of the canvas, and it's sort of got that stuff in it, right? And then we can build that up. So the things that you will see under the certain lights will be important, because that won't be the same as when you go home and in your studio. So this meeting is really just about touch basing. So yeah, then we go to the gallery. We are making our way to the Perthville pub, which is very rustic, which is very local. I believe when I do an art retreat, I always like to pour money back into that community. Perthville's a very, very tiny little place. And so if we all go and have lunch there, then I'm keeping that pub alive, you know, partially. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but you know, and it's good pub food, and we'll be going there. And then we just go up the road up to check into the locate our accommodation. Our accommodation and our studio is all in one spot. You basically walk past the car park. It's all on one level, so you don't need to worry about that. We will check in. We will be introduced to Sister Mary, and she will tell you the backstory of that, of why the place is there, how it exists now, what we're going to use it. We are the only people there. We run the joint. So it doesn't matter if you want to be a crazy artist and go up under a tree and talk to a bird, then by all means, no one's going to worry about that. And then we will unpack, and then we'll settle into doing our art stuff, and I'll give you a plan. I always give you a plan. I'm a little bit timeline wise, I'm a little bit anal retentive with that. So I don't know about you, but I found that a lot of students really like to know where they're heading, where, you know, what's going on, so they can sort of organize their brain. So I will get you to do some crazy fun things, but I will go through on the Friday, and we'll have some afternoon tea there. All your meals are included, and that's why I do keep harping on about is there anything that you don't eat or things like that. I'm having a meeting with the chef next Friday morning, so if there's anything extra that you think of, if you can let me know. Of course Vicky can change things, but there is, you know, 18 of us, so I need to make sure that she caters for everyone. And you are not imposing if you ask something. We'll just make it happen. We've got to get the food anyway, so doesn't matter. In saying that, we also have big fridges, so if there's any particular things that you need to bring with you, particular food that you specifically get, or medications that you need to put in a fridge, please bring it. And most importantly, if you like a drink, you will get a drink. One glass I'm giving you every day. But if you would like to bring more wine, then, or whatever it is you drink, then please feel free. And we've got lots of storage. You have a lot of storage in this place. You all have your own rooms. You all have a bathroom in there. It's all centrally heated. You'll probably complain that it's too hot, and we'll have to adjust the air conditioning, but that's okay. That's fine. So I thought what I'd do now is we'll go through, this is very annoying, the equipment, just so that I'm just going to go through the equipment list. So talking about the, and hopefully you've got the equipment list with you. Just let me know on an email and I'll resend it to you. You probably have a preference for the type of equipment that you really like to use, and by all means bring it, okay? But I would like to extend you with a few different things, and I'm sure that's why you're coming to the retreat. So sketch paper or a sketch pad, I will always say a bit bigger than you normally do, but I do understand that you are traveling. So whatever fits in whatever suitcase you've got. You can see on that frozen screen that I've got a sketch pad there. When I'm traveling, things that are A3 is usually a good size. You can fold it down if you like to take it outside. One of the things is I will have, let's see if I can unfreeze myself, a foam board. See this? Okay, so this board that you can see, each person's going to get that, and they can tape their paper and their whatever, paper, canvas to that board, and you can hang on to that for the whole retreat. So you can go outside, it's nice and light, it's just foam core. So that's yours, and your easel, you'll have your one spot, that will be it. So you've got sketch pad. If you are taking pieces of sketch pad, don't forget to bring some clips, you know, hold that sucker down. Tape, if you want tape. So what are the things? Masking tape, and you know, unfreeze, and then masking tape, and then I've got the blue tape you can see there. The blue tape, go to Bunnings, and it's that repositional tape. You know, you can go and get some fancy art tape from the art shop and pay 3 times as much, or just, you know, when you go, Bunnings have like a green and a blue one. It's unfortunate that it's colored because it kind of gets in the way of your painting. But that is repositional, which means you can take it off and it won't leave sticky gluey stuff kind of things. Okay, so you want some tape. So what are you going to work on? You can choose to be on sheets of canvas. When I travel, I prepare my canvas sheets beforehand. So I might put a bit of gesso on them so they're pre-prepared. But a lot of the canvas, you can see the pad that I've got in the shot there, Frederick's pad, it's pre-gessoed. But it also, I always like to do a bit more gesso on it, just white. Don't go crazy with colors yet. You're going to go crazy when you get to me, okay? So canvas pad. You can also use canvas paper, which is the one that I've got listed there. I don't mind, but you do want something with a little bit of a surface on it, you know. You will find if you get the cheaper canvas, so if you go to Riot or you go to the $2 shop, you can get the canvas sheet in a pad and things like that too, but just gesso it. And gesso, if everyone knows what I mean, it's just a white cheap paint, gesso it over the top of it to so it doesn't soak through. The cheaper the stuff, it will have holes in it and will soak through. So you want something, we're using acrylic paints. Acrylic paints are plastic, so you want to have a surface that it won't soak through on, kind of thing. Okay, so that's your, and again, I use this size that, you know, when you go to canvases, you're all on inches, which is sort of annoying because we don't really do inches. But I use this one, which is the 18 by 24, the Frederick pad. But really use whatever you like. You might see rolls of it and things like that, but it's a much better to use canvas because you can push it around a little bit more than you can with paper. Okay, but really just bring lots of stuff, really. Lead pencils, 2B rather than an HB. 2Bs are softer, and I will go through pencils and why they're labelled, how they're labelled with you. Charcoal sticks. So when we talk about charcoal sticks, I'm going to unmute. When we talk about charcoal sticks, I've said willow rather than compressed. There's 2 kinds. Compressed is black and really, really dense, and willow is a burnt stick of willow tree, really. And willow's great for sketching up because if you fuss, and we're all fussers, you end up with a big puddle of dust and nothing on your paper. So it sort of trains us to not fuss, and it's free and loose and easy. You can get them in a number of widths, so I don't really care what widths you use. It's just to sketch up and also to stop us getting too tight. We want to be free and expressive. So I've talked about masking tape, disposable palettes. So there's a number of disposable palettes you can use, or a wet palette. So let's talk about that. Disposable palette is, again, we'll unfreeze. It's a bit like commercial breaks, isn't it? I'm sorry about that. Oh, there's a disposable palette. It comes in a, you know, the A4 ones are hopeless because there's not enough space to mix, and we all never have enough space. What I do actually is I use 2 palettes. I have one where I put my paint and one where I mix my paint so that I've got enough space. Now that's a disposable palette, and I've also said a wet palette. So a wet palette, again, I'm going to just unfreeze myself. This is a handmade wet palette. And what it is a lovely plastic Tupperware container. It has a sheet of, unclick, has a sheet of baking paper, and that pink thing behind me is your chucks sponge. And what you do is you have your container, you put your chucks in the bottom, you soak that so it's damp, and then you put your baking paper over the top, or you can put the disposable pallets, and that is what we call a wet pallet. Your dish should be shallow, so it should be like 1.5 inches or something above it, and then you put the lid on. I used to use these a lot when I was in Fiji because we're Scroogey, we want to keep our paints, but it keeps your paints damp. You can spray your paints with water, but it makes them runny, doesn't it? So this is a really good way. It's a wet palette. When I was in America, you can, this is a fancy wet palette, which costs lots of money. And I'm going to unclick. There you go. There's a palette, and it's a dish, and it's just a bit bigger. Again, it's about an A3 size, and it has a little lid that clips on, but really, they're really, really good, especially if we're going to be painting for 4 days, and you don't want to keep cleaning up all the time. I hate cleaning up, but we'll talk about how to manage your palette when we get there. Water bucket, paper towels, apron, wipes. Get yourself a roll of kitchen paper. I'll have a garbage bag on each table, so you can just chuck it all out. Apron, water bucket. Now, water buckets, one of the things that I usually find is really annoying. I'm just going to show this one here. Okay, water bucket's just your old yogurt container, right? Okay, but if you look at this one, one of the things is this has a lid, and it's got a separate bit, and you can put the your brushes, because your brushes run over the top. Just put that there. I'm going to put that like this, and it sits in the lid, and it's quite good. And these are two separate, you can see the two sections separate there. Okay, it's $20 for a piece of plastic, but I use it to death. So just work out something, or have 2 water buckets or something. There's wash up spaces everywhere where you can clean your water and things like that, and that's the trick to keeping your colors bright. Okay, so acrylic paints. So you may have seen I have suggested that you get slightly different colors. So we're going to paint contemporary, and what that means is I'm going to introduce you to a different color palette set. Some of you might already know that, but it's another way, and it's really interesting, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. So I've got, that's why I listed the colors here. This is what we call the CMYK palette here. You can use whatever brand of paint you really like, but I prefer Matisse because it's Australian made, and the colors seem quite strong. So if you get the cheaper Montmartre colors, you can paint them in the background and things like that, but they're never going to have enough pigment to them. They're never going to have that nice bright color that you want, and we will go through and explain all of that anyway. But anyway, that's your CMYK set, and they're the only colors that I've listed there that you need. With blacks, you can choose what kind of black you want, but again, we'll learn how to work with what we get, I suppose. And then I put down some extra colors there that are, again, are the modern palette. So it's the orange, the phthalo green, and the diazone purple. Again, I'm going to show you what we do with that, because we're going to be in autumn. So we're doing a lot of autumn colors. I hope you all like the orange, get to know orange. And so that's going to be your equipment. With brushes, again, there's lots of brushes that you can use, but the cheaper the brush, usually the shorter the life it's going to have. You can see the brushes that I listed there. So synthetic brushes and acrylic brushes. So acrylic brushes are made from pigs. They're hogs brushes, right? So again, I'm going to click for me. So your synthetic brushes, there's a synthetic one, the blue ones you can see on the equipment list. They don't hold as much paint, but they're quite good for detail, okay? But if you want to get loose, then you use your bristle brushes. They're rough, they hold more paint, and you have to keep dipping them in there. So we'll talk about that and what's good for what, but having those is fine. If you buy the cheaper ones, and I'm going to show you, these ones are the cheaper ones. They're fine. There's nothing really wrong with them. Let's see if I can put that up there. There's a brush, right? So it's got the timber handle. they will lose their shape quite quickly, and the bristles, all the new brushes, bristles tend to fall out. And you wear them down, and that's great, I think, because you're using your brushes. I'm a scumbler. And what that means is I put a lot of color over the top of a color, and my flat brights, which I've listed there, so it's got a long head, the bristle is long and flat across, and it gives you more of an expressive color. But I'm going to show you up at the camera my brushes end up looking like that. See how they're angled? And that's because I don't know why they're angled on one side, but I must be left very right hand, and they wear down, and that's just me wearing them down from painting, right? So I've got a lot of these pointy things that I keep, and I'm not sure what I do with, but you know, that kind of thing. So again, whatever brushes you feel comfortable with, but the smoother the brush, the tighter and more detailed you're going to paint. If you don't want to do that, then you use a rougher brush. We'll go through that. And it's how the brush feels. You are expressive painters on that retreat. So we are going to get to start to realize the tactility, and hopefully I can get you to notice more about how painting feels, because that's why we like painting. It's how it feels, right? And so it's also about the tactility of like what brush you like. How does it feel? I used to have a student, and she couldn't cope with she put her hand on the canvas, and she didn't like the feel of the finger on the canvas. It made her like blood boil. She said, it's like, oh my God. It's like, okay, that doesn't work for you. So you might have a different thing. But that tactility, we want to be connected with our art. And often one of the things is with your artworks is you feel disconnected. And so the first place to start is your materials. So we'll get friendly. Whatever you make, it is not your equipment's fault. Do not be nasty to your equipment. You may fling it across the paddock, but don't, like we've all had those moments. And some big brushes you can see that I've listed there, and they're just like, they could be house brushes or things like that, just to slap color down. A variety of brushes is really good because often we get, I don't know about you, but sometimes you get used to one brush and your whole painting looks like you've used one brush, and it gets a bit samey. So we're going to use some techniques on how to mess that up. I think that's all the art equipment I need to talk about, unless there's anyone who has a question on the art equipment or is worried by the art equipment. No, we're all good. Excellent. All right.
I have a question.
Yes, Kathleen.
Just in terms of easels,
Yes.
because I probably will bring something of myself, but I'm not sure whether to bring a standing one or a table easel. Will we be doing some painting outside with the easels, or
Yes.
will that be in the studio? Okay.
No, I will be sending you out.
Okay.
It will be like 10 steps outside. So
that's okay. Yeah.
We have help that can move your easel out there. I can set you up. We will set you up with whatever's comfortable for you.
Mm-hmm.
I've got these, I'm going to point to my picture at the end. They're portable easels, so they're not very sturdy. There's a metal easel behind me. So you don't have to panic too much about them. If you want to bring an easel, I would say put that easel in the studio that's more sturdy, and then use mine. Well, I've got allocated one for everyone outside, right? Because we're going to be going outside in the morning. Like the idea of painting plein air for a whole day is really, really lovely until you try and do it yourself. And then you will swear, and the shade will come over, and okay. So that's where you need a bit of cake and coffee to go in between that. So we'll learn how to manage that, because that's a whole event in itself. And people think it's all a really lovely idea, and we'll great and do that, and you'll be wearing your little beret, and you'll be like Monet out there, but that's not the reality. But we are in a really beautiful location, and it's super easy to do that. So yes, bring what you want, even if you leave it in the car. You've got your own space. You have one of those big, like, the big fold out plastic tables kind of thing. You have one of those each, and the room is massive. So usually how I structure it is you will be informed. We'll be having breakfast, then I will be prepping you. We'll be doing some warm-up exercises. If anyone's been in some of my classes, to get you warmed up, I'll sort of get you to do some crazy practice things, and then we'll go into that. The each day we'll be learning about different artists and how they did stuff, so that might help extend what you would normally do. So we'll look at different artists and different ways of doing things, because guess what? That might be the trigger that gets you to the next step of your painting. And then on the last day, on the Monday, I'm going to be talking about finishing work. So things like signatures and varnishes, and well, I'll show you what I do with my work. Everybody does different things, and just how you know how to wrap up a painting, because sometimes that's really tricky. You do workshops and then you've got all these half finished paintings in your room and you don't know what to do with them. So the other thing too, for anyone who's interested, if you would like to bring a couple of your works that you don't know what to do with, like you're stuck on a spot, please bring those and we'll do a little personal critiques on the Monday, right? I'm happy for you to do that, because maybe it's just, by that time everyone will be warm and fuzzy and love each other, and you'll all be experts with helping each other. We're all much better at telling other people what to do than telling ourselves, and I find that works really well in the art world. As long as it's a comfortable, safe spot, we should be fine. And then, yeah, so it's super easy. Like, out of all the retreats I've done, this is a really comfortable space. You'll be fed regularly at regular intervals. I will be giving you color talks and a pre-dinner drink up in the audio-visual room. It's just really comfortable and relaxing and hopefully engaging. I think there's a lot of different people. I've got a couple, which is not here, they're coming down from Queensland, so that's pretty impressive. I'm feeling pretty special about that. Again, if there's anything that you would like to know or you would like me to do or explain, let me know and I'll just put it into the mix. I'm a bit of a control freak, so I have everything planned, but hopefully we've got everything covered. I suppose just think about the difference is experience. Like we're always in a big rush to like slap work down and things like that, and I really want you to absorb the location where you are, what you're looking at. Sometimes someone next to you will have a really good comment and you go, oh, I never thought of that. Sometimes we need to get out of our own head, I think. And the retreats are really good for that. I've had a lot of people produce some really lovely stuff. I think there's only about 3 people that have been to the retreat before. So we'll just let them wander in the forest, out there. The weather is spectacular. It will be a little bit chilly. So, just look up your temperature for Bathurst. Again, our room is every space we're in, apart from being outside, is air conditioned, and you will be telling me whether you want it hotter or colder at all times. Your rooms are centrally heated. Everything's spectacular. I think there's an open fireplace in the lounge room. Anyway, I think that's it. I'm sorry about the video. Ugh. Ever since COVID, I don't think there's any COVID rules I need to tell you about. Is there, Kathleen? Is there COVID rules?
No, but I just wanted to ask a question about the paints.
Yes.
So I love these Matisse colors. I've always been a bit nervous about using cadmiums because, they got poison splashed all over them. So I'm
just
not sure
don't
about
eat
handling.
them. Okay.
Just don't eat them.
Yeah,
okay.
so
What about on your fingers or anything? Gloves?
No. So, okay. So I'm going to get the date wrong, but in 2014, Switzerland tried to ban cadmium red, yellow, and orange because they said that artists were washing it down the drain and it was killing the environment. That is not, I don't know about you, but I don't wash my paint down the drain, right? So what it was is the production of cadmium, that's why it has a poisonous sign on it, is when they make it, it's all the offshoot of the factory making that color that goes into the land, that poisons the land, that makes the land infertile and plants can't grow on it. It's that bit. It's not you. If you feel uncomfortable with buying that cadmium orange, you will make orange with the colors you already have. It's just that it's a thicker one. Cadmium orange, red, and yellow came about in the Impressionist time when they were trying to replace more poisonous paints. So chrome yellow was a color that Van Gogh, Van Gogh's beautiful, beautiful yellow. it was solid, so it's a blocker. If you look at the color, it's got a little black square on it, which means it's an opaque paint. So it's solid, it's not transparent, and that's why they loved it, because it was rich and beautiful and colorful, and they were replacing other more evil paints. So chrome yellow, in which cadmium yellow replaced, oxidizes and goes brown over time and in air. Right. So poor old Van Gogh's sunflowers, you probably will never see them in a bright room ever again, because they're turning brown. And so cadmium yellow was a replacement. Just stop eating it. Don't eat it, and you'll be okay. All right. If you feel tentative about it, again, you don't have to use it. But you just won't get that bright orange color. You can use rubber gloves if you feel that that's a problem, but guarantee I will not be making you like roll yourself in orange paint, because I'm too stingy. You're like, it's a special, beautiful color that you top.
Oh yeah.
Bits and pieces. So that's why the word poisonous is on it. Nowadays, you will see that a lot of art companies, maybe I think Winsor & Newton might have a version that's cadmium free. All the art companies have gone to town because of this issue with making versions that are not poisonous, right? And you will see, if you just do a Google, Winsor & Newton cadmium free acrylics, I think Winsor & Newton have one, right? So they've all gone, especially in oil paints, but they've all gone to town on making different versions, like close to, you know. But what happened is that they tried to ban the colors, and the artists were in an uproar, especially if you are maybe a traditional artist and you really like hardcore traditional colors. That cadmium red is a beautiful, rich, chalky color that you just can't get, you know, any other way. But you don't have to have it. When you pick up the tube, you will find that it's a lot heavier than the other colors, and that's the cadmium in it, really.
Quite heavy. It looks like it's got two pigments in it anyway. So it's got cadmium. I think it's a cadmium orange, and then something else that's mixed in with it. I can't
Probably
see the
something
number.
that makes it really, really strong. But you can make an orange out of the yellow and the magenta. You can do that, but it will be thin, right? It will be thin. That's all. And they're just additional colors. They're not necessary. In saying that, if you've got any other paints that you want to bring them. You know, like I was just trying to. The worst thing that can happen in a workshop is when everyone says, "Oh, you have to go and spend, $1,000 on all these different colors." You know, so I was trying to limit the choice so that you didn't have to go and do that. With acrylic paints, what you will find is if you mix blends, sometimes they will coagulate. And what they have done that on purpose. Acrylic paint was designed in the 1940s, and the companies create their colors so that they all dry at the same time, okay, within their brand. So other brands, you'll find like one color will look slightly different, that will dry at a different time. So they don't want their colors to blend with other brands. So, when you mix it together and it coagulates, sometimes you get that. And in saying that, you can use whatever colors you want, but it is a plastic, right? So with acrylic paints, you can't bring them back to life like you can bring them back to life with watercolor paint, where if it's on the plate kind of thing. So in saying that, you don't put all your colors out on the palette before we even know what we're doing, right? We will go through that. Otherwise, they're all going to dry out. It's going to be coolish there, so it's not going to be too dry. We're not in summer Bathurst where everything dries instantly. Acrylic paints dry darker. So that's all the acrylic brands are always trying to improve their paints, in that when you put the wet color out, it matches almost closely to when it's dry, but it doesn't. It dries about 20% darker, which is really annoying. And it also sinks, but we've got ways of making that. I put open, medium, and a spray bottle on the list. A spray bottle is just to do some magic things. And an open medium, it keeps your paint, like it says, open. And what that means, it keeps it wet a little bit. right? So an open medium won't break down the pigment, but I've got a bigger bottle there. But you can just buy them in a single tube. It breaks down it kind of gives you a varnishy type of look, but it keeps it open so you can mix it for a longer period. It keeps it wetter, basically. Some people choose to spray their palette, like where they've got their colors, with water. I'm not a big fan of that because it makes everything wet and soggy, and also, if you want to be expressive, you got a time limit then, haven't you? Get it down, don't worry too much about it, then build on top of it. So does that explain that, Kathleen? Yeah, and I've given you a couple of different blacks there. Again, you can choose. Just one of the interesting thing is the ivory black. If you're a vegan, any vegans out there, like you might not want to use that because it's made of animal bones, but there's lots of different blacks. You can use whatever one you want. Again, I don't use, very rarely do I use black. I think we can do better with rich darks, and that's what we'll make from all these colors. I think you can do much more beautiful, richer colors layered over the top, which is the beautiful thing about painting, is that you can layer it and build that up, and that's how our paintings will grow. I always like that. My impression is to make more than less. The statistics say that if you make 3 or 4 paintings, then you'll like one rather than just make one that's meant to be a masterpiece, right? So it's just getting you free and easy, having a second cup of coffee and getting you expressive, where I stick you under some beautiful autumn leaves. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, if some people choose to use disposable gloves when they're painting, or if you're just a little bit messy, you can do that. It just depends on how tactile you want to get. I've got one lady, and she gets it everywhere. And so, it's whatever feels comfortable for you. Oh, we're not going anywhere fancy, so don't bring your fancy clothes. We are in a field. There's only us, so we're going to see each other from the morning to the evening. Paint clothes, aprons, or whatever works for you as a paint shirt. Hopefully you're not coming to the retreat for what you look like. It's what you do that's most important to me, and how you think. So don't worry about that. Comfortable shoes is usually good. In the art studio, we do have carpet, which freaks me out. And I put lots and lots of paint drop sheets down, so that you've got a drop sheet under your table, you've got a cover over your table. But it's comfortable is what I'm saying. Like standing, sitting, if people have a sore back, there's a chair for everyone. It's pretty comfortable. Like, it's very comfortable. So again, if you feel like you can't stand for an amount of time, it's totally up to you. But it's easy in this place. It's really, really simple. You can go and have a nap anytime you like if you're sick of hearing me. You can go, if you're getting a bit of the, fed up with looking at your painting, go and walk around the place. It's beautiful. There's horses in the paddocks, and I think there's kangaroos that jump past. It's on a bit of a hill, so it's just to the left before you get to Mount Panorama, pretty much. So it's where all the police hide out before they go to Bathurst. So it is quite beautiful. It's quite rural. You're gonna have a great time. It's lovely. And Kathleen, it's amazing that you're coming. Kathleen, just for everyone, Kathleen was coming to one of my first retreats about a couple of years ago. And then thank you, COVID, hit and miss. She's going to make it. She's going to make it. So I don't know if anyone's got any other questions. It's going to be so exciting to meet you all. I can't wait for all the things you're going to create. One of the things that I really love about the art retreat is we get to talk about art stuff, that other people don't want to talk about. Crazy geniuses, or there's like, oh, I can't mix my orange, or I'm worried about this. We're the ones that can talk about that for half an hour, and no one needs to understand. It's lovely. Oh, the other thing too is there is this little gift shop that the nuns make. Oh, they knit tea cozies and make jam and preserves, and they're amazing. Once you hear the story of these guys, like amazing goodwill people. they sell their jam and all that money goes to either third world country or helping communities. But you need cash for that. They don't do modern money. So you need cash for that. So my only thing is stick a bit of cash in there. They're the most delightful, amazing people. One of the bonuses of the retreat is that you will get to meet Vicky, who is our chef, has an amazing life story. And again, formidable humans. And we have Sister Mary, who's the most unreligious nun you've ever met, right? And I always say, well, it's about creativity, whatever flavor you like, right? You can take whatever one. And we will have a look. There's a phenomenal priest that was there that was really into natural history. And that's one of the things that I love about this place. He's got particular notes that are now in the South Australian Museum about authenticating natural finds of trees and animals. You know, he kind of connected to people like Charles Darwin and was fascinated with Australia. So that's one of the extra bonuses we get about research and creativity. And we're all a bit like that. I don't know about you, but you're all hoarding a couple of gum nuts, I'm sure, and a crazy rusted nail because you thought it was really interesting and you might paint it. Hopefully you are, right? Bring a big bucket, you know. So hopefully that's it. Sorry about the, you know, little mysterious thing. But hopefully if there is anything that you need. So the other thing too is if you would like to order some art equipment online, if you can't get to an art shop, I will send you after this. I'm going to send you the how to get there little PDF. I'm also going to send you the link to Art Scene. If people want to order their material, so Art Scene is the art shop that I use, and they supply all the art schools in New South Wales pretty much. If you have a look on their website and you order their stuff or you give them a call and you say that you're with my retreat, you will get the 20% artist discount. And I'm happy to pick it up for you on the Monday before the retreat, and I'll bring it in my van. Okay, so if there's anything in particular, they're not overpriced. They're probably underpriced. They're the best deal you're ever going to get. And all the list of equipment that I've given you is from that place, right? So if there's something that you want, let them know, get them to label it, and I will just pick it up and bring it with me.
Do we need to call them?
Would you send me
Sorry,
the
Lisa.
list too? Oh, sorry. Would you
That's
be able
right.
to send me the list, Christine? I'm just looking through my emails, but I can't
Yeah,
see
no,
the list,
that's fine.
so
Now
sorry
I'm
about
going to,
that.
after we finish this, I will resend the PDF for you. It is on the website, but hey, we're beyond that now. I'm going to send you the PDF of the art equipment. I'm going to send you a link to Art Scene, and I'm also going to email Art Scene to say that I've got these students that when they contact you, they know me anyway. They know I'm doing this, that they will, and they're just wonderful people to help you out with equipment, and nothing's ever a problem. I will also send them the PDF that I'm going to send to you of the art equipment, so you're all talking about the same things visually, you know, because everyone explains a brush differently, don't they? But yeah, pretty good. So I'll send that to you. I will send the how to get there PDF, and I'll send you to the link to the Art Scene website. So what I normally do is on their website, I copy and paste the codes and what it's called, put it on an email, and just email it to Art Scene. You can buy it online if you want, but if you just want to get your head around what it is, they're very good on the phone. You can pay over the phone or whatever way you want to pay, and then they will package it up and I will bring it with me. And it's nice and easy. Yeah, they're very good. I get them to package all my students' things, and they do framing as well. But I know that some people aren't close to art stores sometimes and things like that. But don't get bogged down with, whether you use a B pencil or a 2B pencil is not going to make a difference to what you make. It's what you make that makes the difference. Okay. So yes, I will do that now. Is there any other questions that people need?
Yes, and I think Lisa had a question too. Did you ask your
Oh,
question, Lisa?
No, mine was just I needed the equipment list. That's all good. You covered that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Christine, I probably need a lift to the I'm probably not going to have a car, so
Okay.
so I can either get a train or work something out, but I just thought I'd flag it now.
Okay, let me look at the list of people of where we're coming from.
Yep.
I would give you a list, but I have to go
Yep.
day before to set up. There's a lot of
Oh.
stuff. It's a whole day before.
There's a lot of setting up. Well, if I could get it, I mean, there's a possibility. I actually have a friend in Bathurst, so I mean, I could look into that if
Okay,
you are
all
going the
right.
day before.
Oh, but I only have 2 seats in my car. Anyway, that's not a
Okay,
problem. We need
all right.
that's good to know. That's really good to know. I will sort that out for you. There's a lot of us. So there's 18 of us. Oh no, that's including me and Mike. There's 16 of you. All together. Most of you are like coming by yourself, which is great. I really like that because it's all you're all newbies to everybody. It'll be lovely. Yeah, I think it's going to be great fun. Don't worry about that, Kathleen. I will sort out something with that because you're in the mountains. You're at Lawson, aren't you? I know that.
I am. I think Vivian looked familiar too. I remember her from.
Yes,
So I
Vivian
don't know where
and
she's coming
Dale.
from, but yeah.
Yes, they might be able to because I think they're coming together, but they come in a big 4-wheel drive.
Oh, okay.
And everyone who's coming from Sydney is coming through the mountains anyway. Like
Yeah, because I think I met Vivian at
Bathurst.
we were in the same at Bathurst. We were in the same cottage, and yeah.
Oh right, okay, all right.
At one of your workshops there, yeah.
Yes, Vivian's just said that she hasn't been able to connect, so I'm going to just send the recording of this. That
I have one more question because
Yes.
I'm like that.
Good. Yeah, Anne's usually asking for other people anyway.
Yeah. So yes, I hate to be very expressive with paints, which does mean I go through a bit. Would you recommend taking a couple of tubes of the light Hansa? Because I do use a
Yes.
lot of yellow.
Especially yellow.
Yeah.
Yellow. Take
Yep.
a few tubes of white.
Yeah.
Even
Okay.
if you want to get the buckets, like you know how they go up in size.
Yeah.
Take the buckets in white, not so much black. But yeah, the yellow is the one that you're going to run out of the quickest.
Yeah.
We're using a modern palette, so the colors that you're using are super, super strong. But in saying that, then you're probably adding more white to dose them down and things like that. So
they're also transparent too, I noticed. So those 3 primaries are all
exactly, that is the point.
Not primaries.
That's okay.
Primaries.
Very good. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's good because it means that they will last longer, but you will go through your yellow. Again, if you feel like you have a few favorite colors that you want to bring with you, by all means do that. I just didn't want everyone. I'm giving you a modern palette rather than the traditional palette that everyone gets. And that's the point because you probably know the traditional palette. So we're going to go through that and why we do it and all of that kind of stuff. And hopefully you'll get different results with what you're doing. And also one of the things that comes through a lot is that people don't feel like they've got control of their colors. You know, like they've not that you want to control it too much. You want some lovely discoveries and surprises, but it gets on top of them and they spend all their time exhausted mixing color rather than actually being expressive. So that's why I've limited the palette. And yes, you've got less. If you want to bring all your other colors, by all means do that. I'm not going to control what you do. It was really just to stop people spending too much money. You want to bring a fluoro and a gold too, you know, you chuck that in. You go, your people, there's always one that wants gold. It's got gold in my painting. It's all right. That's okay. By all means, bring all that stuff, bring weird stuff. You want to stick some, you know, leaves in your painting, of course do that. I will have other materials that we'll be using that I will be giving you, but I'm not asking you to buy them because they're experiments for you to use, okay? So that's the only thing that you know, and that's the surprise bit, isn't it? I think we want some lovely discoveries and surprises. Hopefully I can get you to paint differently to what you normally do because you don't need me there to paint how you normally paint, do you? You know, that's not doing my job, am I? So yeah, experimenting and taking the lead of other artists. So what you can do, you know, I get a lot of people like, oh, I don't do that, and I'm going to plant that seed in you all now. You know, oh, my painting's not doing this, or my painting's not doing that. It normally does that. And I'm going to say, excellent. So practice the word excellent, right? Oh, it's not how I wanted. Excellent. Oh, that color is not what I wanted. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to practice out the whole 4 days will be about practicing having a positive mindset and also enjoying the process. Because what I get over and over again is people go, I love painting, but I hate what I make. This is what happens. It's like, oh no. And you let things infect your enjoyment of that. And often it's really hard. And I'm there to get in the way of that. And hopefully, if I distract you enough, you might just have a good time painting it, you know? We've got a lovely group. It's not going to be too many people because the room is so big. If you've been to one of my classes before, you know that I don't sit down. I am adamant that everybody gets the same amount of my time, okay? Because that's what you're there for. And so I will be constantly rotating, okay? So anyway, I've got lots of tips and tricks to help you with your positive mindset. And that's what this is really, the first step is really to make things a little bit calmer for you. Bring all your ideas. And if you've got some crazy ideas that you haven't tried, write it down, draw some strange stick figure pictures for me, collect things, because one of the things that I am adamant about is that you guys, unless we were all only 10, you have all these amazing experiences that come from your life, the way you do things in your job, the way you don't do things, like they're all part of the magic of you. They're part of your personal style. And I don't want you to stop doing them. I want to enhance them. So that's the bit that's going to be magic. No one is going to end up with a painting that's all the same, right? Isn't that fabulous? That's what we want. What unites us is our diversity, not our sameness. We can all learn that. That's boring. I want you to be expressive. So it's me training you on how to develop as we go through those steps, you know, and I know that you all know how to do it. It's just sometimes you need another person to keep you going. It's like, keep into that and find methods. And I'm really looking forward to meeting all the different ways that you will do different things, because we're all different. And that's the thing we have to embrace. And that's the thing I'll bang on a lot about. So that's why we're going to look at a couple of artists. You can see in the brochure that I talk about, we're going to have a look at these guys. It's not so that you paint like these guys, but that we can understand that everybody has a different mindset and a different expectation about what they're trying to get out of the paintings. And that's what we have to nail down. Maybe you're not, right? Come with one thing that you want to have, that you want to achieve, or you want to get better at when you come to the retreat. Just one. Not 500, just one. You'll get more, but just one, okay? So I think that's it. Have I answered questions from everyone at the moment? Everyone's feeling confident and happy and expressive. And anyway, a few glasses of wine helps you be more expressive. Really good. You won't worry about what you're doing. I'll get the best work out of you. So yeah, bring lots of stuff. Kathleen, I'll sort out your transport for you. I'm sure we can work out something. And I really look forward to meeting you all. On the how to get there list, I've put down a coffee shop that's called The Hub, but in Keppel Street, there's quite a few coffee shops along that street. You can't get lost. Bathurst is a bit of a weird Truman movie show. It's one of those glorious, beautiful towns where everyone's really nice to you. It's amazing. I don't know what they've got in the water there. I used to teach out at the Bathurst University doing the summer and winter school, so it's just divine and beautiful. But we do have, I think we might even have the gallery director giving us the tour on the exhibition, and hopefully you'll be inspired. And yeah, and we'll see you there. I'm a phone call away. You can always get me everywhere. Thank you for joining, guys. I'm sorry about the video. I'll upload this, and now in the next half an hour, I'm going to send you the equipment list, the how to get there list, and the art scene link and the phone number in case you get lost. Happy packing, happy creating, and I'll see you.
Christine.
Yes?
Christine, I just wanted to confirm we're meeting at 11 at the Bathurst Art Gallery. That's correct?
Yes, you are. Yes, I'm on the how to get there list. I've got it all put down there to 11 o'clock. There's a little foyer there, but I will sit out the front from 10:30 onward, and you can come and say hello and drink your coffee there. You can't take coffee into the gallery, so get your coffee in before we have it, okay?
Yeah.
I look forward to meeting you all there, guys. you.